next job on this drive-in sign is going to be removing everything from the side of it here. And this is what would be the westbound side of the sign, the way it was situated. I got to remove all these neon holder mounts. And I'm going to remove the arrow, the insulator. This way I can come back and start straightening up these dents here. And they got crumpled pretty good here, plus a tear. I'm going to have to weld that up. I'm going to save this piece because this is the original piece here. And I got to also template all the paintwork stuff here. I got to make a template of that so I can reproduce that before I start grinding and sanding and all the stuff on here. But look at that. This is where the sign was separated, hanging up on the grill or the grid that was holding up the fluorescent tubes in the center. And you can see where it just ripped and it got bent. And of course the rust down here is pretty bad. And of course all along the bottom here. So I got my work ahead of me. I'm going to get this portion moving on because I've just got to start getting some headway on this. It's going to be a big job and it's going to be a costly job, both in time and money. But we're going to get these, at least get this arrow, the feather portion and the arrow head done. Now this light fixture here was definitely 50s. Just look at the kind of design. It's very space age, and I'm really hoping it works. I'm going to test fit it, but there is the inside there. Just needs cleaned up. And well, this light here is actually shining on the cabinet door where they held the letters. And so anyways, I'm on the quest for these. I need 3 more of them. Actually, I need more than that, because they actually had signs, spotlights up on the artwork on the very top of the headpiece as well. So there we go. Just neat stuff, the way it was built, and it's just cast aluminum. So I'm going to get this polished up too. I get this top cleared off, and I'm going to start cleaning up the turnbuckles up here. Yeah, I got to start beating this metal. All the edges are bent up, which you can see right there. It's pretty bad. We're going to go through and get all these insulators cleaned up, and obviously going to be running new GTO wire to them, and just everything here just needs to be cleaned. And this I'm going to start bead blasting, but I'm actually going to put a turntable unit in here that's going to work, so we can get the flashing light. But anyways, that's the beginning of that. So we got to get that cleaned up back there, go through that and start placing the metal. I still got to make some more space. I got this old cabinet that'll eventually get done, and some motorcycle tins back there, plus the shark jaw. So I need to make more room, and the way I do it is get stuff done. Now this is a closer look of these transformers here. They're all just shot. There's no saving these, but I'm going to just keep them because this is old school, the way they did the porcelain. And you can see right here, this one broke. And these are the old ballasts. They weigh a ton. And so anyways, it's just neat to have this stuff for reference. I may actually just fix one up just to make it look better. But they were loaded with like tar and oil and stuff like that, so to keep them cool. That's, I don't think, the way they do things anymore, but I'll find out as I learn more about the setting up the neon and stuff. So anyways, there's a quick glimpse. Now I'm tightening up all these here. I had to take them off to remove the very top, and they're just little 3/8 nuts down there. So, and they're brass hardware, which you can kind of see right there. And so anyways, not to bore everybody with just some of the details, but here's the inside. There's an insulator on the back side, and you can see how this is. I'm going to refinish all the inside here. I'm going to get it all painted. This way it lasts. Try to stop some of this rust. I'm going to tighten it up. I mean, mind you, it's 68 years old. We're working on 69, and well, you know, time took care of it. And well, I'm going to start to, you know, obviously bring this back to life. But I'm going to keep getting these done so I can take these clamps off, and this way I can get the top all sewed up. Do a little bead blast in here. Just look at that corrosion just coming right off. The rust is going to be taking a little bit more, but it's coming off right good also. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually bending this portion. I can't even get my finger in front of it. Right there, I'm straightening that out. A lot of it looked like this. And if you look, it is bent out. So I'm bending that back down and getting it to that angle. This end got lifted up when I did that, which is good. And well, you know, a lot of it's just rusty, beat up. What I'm trying to do is get this back into shape so I can get my dimensions and measurements, and then I'll start assessing each area and whether or not I'm going to replace that panel or repair it. It's not necessarily a restoration if you rebuild it. And I'm trying to restore it this way. We got the original sign, the sign material that was out there in 1954, all the way up to when I took it down, and that's what I'm trying to do, is keep the metal. So it's a lot more work, but that's a restoration, not a replacement. I'm not rebuilding the sign, I'm restoring it. I should have filmed this before I got started. This piece was bowed down, like went down here, and I managed to get it pretty straight, and it's not 100% perfect. When I get through tightening things up, like if I do this, it'll actually lift this up a little bit more. And I'm going through and getting this straightened up. This is where the lighthouse beacon was, right here. And so I'm going to get this straightened out, and this obviously needs to be replaced. I mean, this is just bad news right here, and it's super thin and whatnot. This was cut out because it actually has some white polycarbonate that went up here, or white translucent plastic. And I'm just actually pretty impressed that I'm getting it that straight already. And that's, I got to go through here, and which the support is right underneath there, which the lighting's terrible. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and shoot this whole top. And you know, I got to get all the stuff cleared off. I got some tubes out here to do some light samples on, and I tried using a black light. It doesn't work. I got to use ultraviolet. So anyways, here's this. I'm going to get this bent up, and I just got to clean this up first, but I am very happy with how that came out. So, you know, let's salvage as much as we can. Okay, we got all the screws loose, and this is the first piece that's actually coming off the face, the feathers here, which are kind of trapped right there. I want to kind of gently remove them. This is probably the first time they've been separated from the sign in 70 years. But take a look. And of course the rust is holding on to it. Gotta be gentle. I'm going to put that down here, change the angle of the light. It's not working out so well. All right. There it is. And there it is. There. The feathers. taken off, obviously. There, and I'm going to go down and get all the mounting brackets for the neon on the letters, and then of course the arrowhead up there. We got this front arrow basically unscrewed. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this off. And so anyways, the sign's starting to get dismantled. All this stuff was red. You can see that where the paint is faded off. And obviously this arrow itself was red, and it had red neon. So these screws here are for the insulators on the inside. Right there. These things. And they have a different screw. They have a flat edge on them. So I'm going to document all that stuff so that I can get it put back to where it was. They even painted the insulator red up here. But anyways, let's go ahead and try to get this off here. I'm gonna need a screwdriver. This is embarrassing. Oh. Alright. There it is. There. First time in 68, 69 years it's been removed. So, got some holes down at the bottom. See if I can show that. There it is. And we will get all that patched up. I'm going to clean up this metal on the edge. This thing's going to look brand new when I'm done with it. I'm here at Mumford Sheet Metal, and the fine people here have a nice stash of brass hardware to do this drive-in sign that they just hooked me up with. And well, I'm going to pay the money and just get some B-roll clips here. It's a really well supplied place here locally in Selbyville in the Ocean City area. Now what I'm doing here is that I'm removing these mounts for the neon support studs, which are glass. I have soaked these with penetrating oil on the back side, not so much on the front side. I didn't want to get a bunch of oil on this metal up front here. And I'm using my flathead and these pair of pliers. And I take the pair of pliers and I reach over on the back side here, see if you can see them. And I grab a hold of the screw and I simultaneously twist in both directions until it cracks loose. And that's what I found is the quickest way of doing this, and that's also keeping the damage down and saving the screws, because I'm trying to preserve the screws that are there, namely because of the vintage style. You know, they're just, you know, straight slotted screws right here. And so anyways, I'm going to go ahead and break one loose, see if I can do this with the camera on. I got to find a place to put it. And I take the blade and kind of just run it down in the slot, because there's paint, rust and whatnot in there, so I get a good bite on this. And I'll check it, see if it actually moves. And nope. So come in, pliers, and I'll reach in on the back side. Get a good grip. This way I'm using pressure on both sides of the sheet metal. I'm rocking back and forth, and there it goes, and it's starting to come. There it is. It's that simple. Of course, you know, the screws rusted, so I might have to go back in there some more. And that's what I'm going to hit do. Nope, don't hit do it. Back and forth, just to work it out. Those screws are not very long. And that's my little bit of information, a little helpful tip with doing things. If you can, get behind and reach it in there and remove the screw. I'll continue on for the rest of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and start straightening this stuff out right here, these edges, and I'm going to also work on this dent here up top, or this bend, start straightening that out. And unfortunately I got to work on this area, which is in really bad shape, but I'm going to try to get this metal down, get this portion here straightened out, get this down here lifted up. I'm going to do the best I can, because once I got it straight, then I can start deciding on what's going to stay, what's going to go, and obviously get into my repairs, fixing all these rust holes here. And you can see back here that this is in the back. This is lip here that's folded up, held the plastic. And down here in the bottom, right there's screw holes. Like here's one right here, screw holes right there. That is what actually you would kind of put the plastic, slip it up into the upper lip and then drop it down and then screw it in right here. And the screw holes went all the length of it. But let me show you the weapons of choice. Is I'm going to be using pliers, a heel dolly, a spoon, and you know, the duck bills here, and a hammer with the wide face on it, the bigger face. And so I'm going to start beating this metal up here a little bit, and hopefully I get some good video. Okay, first what I'm going to start with is getting this bent down here a little bit, and it's got a upwards bend right here on the top. So just kind of see if I can work it down a little bit with the pliers, which is working. You can hear that metal buckling because I need to get it moved around to proper spots. I'm going to get a different glove on here. And because it was available. And let's see. Come with the duck bills. This rusted area here is probably just going to fall apart. Shaking up, getting that lip bent down. So happy. I'm going to continue on. I'm not going to bore you with making you watch this whole episode, but you can see what I'm doing. I've just got that lip down. It's kind of misshapen here. I did get that to sink a little bit and this to raise. And a lot of times it's what you got to do is to go one side or the other and you'll get it fixed up. So it's a little bit cold today. So I got my hoodie on and I'm dressed up in my good warm work gear, and so I'm going to keep moving on, and that's it for this little bit, and I'll show some more later on. Now, part of the process of getting this thing fixed is getting these struts right here, these things right here, just calling them struts, I really don't know what the name is, getting them all sorted out, and they got damaged when the top was compromised. Now, if this is still bent here pretty bad, I'm going to get that wrapped up. Now, this one here broke, and it actually goes all the way down to the bottom there. The angle iron does. So anyways, I've got the top drilled out, the rivets drilled out right up top. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that piece, and I've got another new piece of angle iron down here. I'm going to get the holes drilled on that and get it replaced back up in here. But this whole end here is most likely going to get rebuilt, a new piece put in. It's just really bad and it's really weak, and you can see how much the metal is stretched. But I'm going to mess with it for a little bit until it becomes absolutely apparent that it's not going to get fixed. I don't want to waste too much time on it. And so there we go. The first piece of metal is going to get put in on this place right here to replace that angle iron that is broke and obviously see clamped up there. Just to hold. Okay, we got the first piece of metal that's going to be used to rebuild this sign going in. This makes me happy because I'm getting this section here more supported. And this goes in here, and then I'll bolt it up. And that's kind of where it is, and I'll get it leveled out where it's supposed to be. Now here's the first piece of steel. I got it installed. It's temporary hardware that I got down there. I've actually got brass hardware, like to replace the stuff that's just missing. And up here, this hardware is actually rivets because I'm going to be removing it potentially. I didn't want to set that in with rivets if this piece of metal, which is just really mangled, goes away. Same thing on this side. I got you know, just temporary hardware, but it's to try to get this straight. If I can't, and I'm really having my doubts, then this piece will get replaced. And I want to get this roof done first and get the, you know, the plastic right here fitted and start doing the artwork on that and whatnot. And I got to get the plastic right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's right here. Get that all fixed, and it's about, it all looks like this right here. This piece right there, and I got to get this end piece fixed up. It's just mangled, and that was from taking it off the I-beam. And it's probably a good way of looking at this. You can see how warped and messed up all that is right there. And the break right there, that is kind of big. So anyways, there we go. First piece of replacement steel is in, and I can't wait to get this all sorted out, and this way I can start painting this top. And so anyways. Would discuss this cabinet here. This cabinet was at the basically the wooded side or towards the theater side, not the road side of the sign. It stands at 8 foot 2.5 inches total, 8'2", and it was painted on both sides. And I'm just going to try to point out some details. Now I'm going to need some help. If anybody's got old pictures of this by perchance, it would really help out, because I do not have the complete picture of the artwork that was on here. And there's things that I'm seeing, I don't know if they're correct. Like this point right here. There it is, right there. Trying to reach up to it. That is, I don't know what that is. That could just be a fluke, but I am seeing right here a square right here. Hopefully I'm filming it there, and I believe that's the top portion of the anchor. And also in looking, I see a rope coming down, and the end's down here. There's a piece of rope down here. This is the anchor spade right here. Goes up, comes around to the point there, and then starts swinging down. And then we got the very point of the anchor down here. And it comes over to here, and it looks like it goes out and flares up, and then comes back around down here, and then back out. Now, obviously, we got water, which is these are the waves right here, and it just keeps going down. And it looks like the bottom was completely water and just 2 rows of waves up top of it. And I was originally thinking it was white, but I believe it's tan. You know, basically sand color. But then up here it looks white, but I do see some tan up there as well, kind of speckled in, and then right here where it was covered up was tan. Now back in here was where the I-beam sat, and down here where these paint cans are, the circuit or the breaker box to run the electricity was down here, and you had a hasp that was locked, and it basically opened up on a piano hinge. So anyways, this is a full sheet all the way over here of sheet metal there. Basically 4x8, and then it had the beveled piece coming in. These lines here, which were rusted out, leaf litter had settled in on the shelves, and you can see where the shelves were screwed in by the screws. So the shelves are completely basically gone. I got a little bit of shelf in here, right in here, that you can sort of see in there. It's really dark, but that's the cabinet, and it held the letters, and they were stacked up in there or whatever else for the sign. But if anybody's got any old pictures, contact me through my Instagram, and I would love to get copies of them, even if they're emailed in. That way I can get a better and more accurate portrayal of this, because I got to do the spokes, and here at the end it looks like where the steering wheel spokes went through here, and then down here that looks like it right there. And not everyone had it, but this kind of looks like it, and the paint faded. So anyways, I need to work on that and get some of these other details, but I'd really like to know if up there, that point right here is a sword, but I don't see where else it went. So it may be nothing, and that's some of the mystery that I'm working on as a community on the sign. Now I got a couple printouts which are on the larger side here, done by the fine people over at OC Copy for me. And these pictures are dug up off the internet, and I was just looking to see who put them up so I can give them credit. I'm not trying to loot anybody's images or anything like that, but I couldn't seem to find that who put them up and where these images came from. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll with it, because I want to point out some important things about these images that are going to help me with solving the sign. And one of them is that the artwork at the very top here with the sailboat, and you got the little seagulls, and it looks like there's water there at the boat. The letters there, and that really is important. And how the lighthouse is done here. And unfortunately, it's the image got cut off, but there's enough there that I can work with it. And the other important portion of it is how this neon is done here. And you can see in the image the neon where it is. It begins in the E. All this is one unit right here. And then it begins with the E, and it kind of goes up and over, and then over here with the N. And of course, what's important to me about this is that this is not clear tube. My suspicion is that the drive-in theater was in green. I do know that the lettering is in green, in which this picture shows. But also what's important is it's showing the light blue, or I kept calling it teal or aqua color here, which I'm going to replicate. The original blue, it appears to be dark blue, but I'm going to go with the light blue. It's in this picture here. And we'll go to the next picture. Now in this picture, we'll pick up where we left off on is at the sailboat up here. I've got good back here idea of how that image was there. And of course the letters. This one is not as clear, but the good thing is it's got the top of the lighthouse. And I saw, where it ends up here, the white plastic. So these are all important details. And this right here, this kicks back. So that was slanted back like this piece here, and obviously this piece here. This is interesting. I saw absolutely nothing showing anything like a ladder attached to the sign here, but there was something. I don't know what that is. And again, if anybody in the community here in the Ocean City area knows what this is, that would be very helpful. But I'm assuming it's some sort of ladder or something. I have no clue. But anyways, this is another good image because it shows, the white and then the sand color here. Unfortunately, down here it's all dark, and right on top of there, that's this little awning over the door to the cabinet there, and that looks really dark. And again, I'm going to paint this sand and then replicate the artwork, and that's one of the things that I'm working on, is trying to get some original images of the artwork on the cabinet there. But anyways, there we go. That's kind of, this is where it was probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago, before all the vines really started moving in. And again, I would like to give credit to whoever's image this is. So if you can see this video, you can go to the Infinite Custom Works Instagram and message me, and I'll make sure I correct this situation down the line and give you credit. I'm going to talk about this apparatus. This here is a mechanical flasher, and what this did was interrupt the circuit, and it allowed the light that it was hooked up to turn on and off. So anyways, let me kind of go through this here real quick. It's a Time-O-Matic, Danville, Illinois, and you got your 3 wires. You got your ground and your positive and negative. So what would happen is that it would get electrically charged, and this plate would spin right here, which is a copper plate. So anyways, I'll show you how this works here. Okay, how this works is this spins right here. That little piece there has a cam on it, and then it'll open up your points basically right here. And you see underneath there, that other piece moving, that's the little wheel that rubs up against the cam. As the gear goes around, I'm going to go ahead and spin it the right direction. You should see that open. And it should be opening now. And then it'll close. And that's how that works. Very simple. And it's just a neat little way that they did things. And one of the neat things about this sign, doing this whole project, is the reason I'm enjoying it so much is I'm learning all this new stuff. I never even knew such an apparatus even existed until I started doing my homework on the neon lights and just the neon signs in general, because that's what basically this is a gigantic neon sign with a light box. And this was connected to the, I'm assuming the arrow, but that's where I'm going to connect it up to, so I can get the arrow to go on and off. So anyways, there it is, mechanical flasher. Now I'm going to explain this here. This letter is the letter I. And I incorrectly identified this in the first video. I called it an Adler letter. It's actually a Wagner letter. And well, let's go through this thing. It's one of the many pieces to this puzzle that I'm rebuilding here. So anyways, this letter here had these little hooks there, both top and bottom, and they hooked onto a track which was mounted to the white plastic polycarbonate, and you can quickly hang these up, just like boop, got them on there. And then well, it's about a 1/2 inch thick, and it is an acrylic plastic. I've cleaned this up. It was very dirty, like all the letters I got. They were dirty. So it's a beautiful red color when you backlight it. Hopefully that's coming through pretty good on the camera. And this letter is about 10 inches tall. And I'm going to need to get a bunch of these. So anybody out there happens to know where there's a good stash of 10-inch tall red Wagner letters, I'm going to need them. But I need them for cheap. But anyways, I'm going to show some of these letters backlit. It's just one of those neat things. And again, it gives the sign some character. You know, it's not like LEDs, which are super bright, but these things are just neat backlit. Okay, nice little showing of how these letters look backlit. Not a big deal. I need a lot more. It's going to be a process accumulating these, and to, you know, obviously be able to put my name in lights. That's what I always wanted. So anyways, you know, these are just 10-inch tall Wagner letters. You know, that's all they are. And so anyways, it's neat to see all this stuff, and I've still got to do a lot of work on these. They're kind of weathered. I did a good job getting these cleaned up, but if you look, they're just all kind of bowed right there, and this eye is bent. So I got to heat these up and, you know, get them flat so that they actually stick on the tracks. I think I got one flat one, but most of these are just all weathered. Some reason or another, like the D here, the center portion likes to sink down, and they just kind of rock back and forth. This 5 is a little misshapen there. This one's actually the best one, and the Ensign's got a little bit of bow in it too as well. So I'm very happy how they cleaned up, and it's good to see that they actually aren't all cracked up and whatnot. The eye is actually the worst one. That was found at the bottom of the cabinet, and it's got some, you know, spider cracking in it is essentially what it is, where stuff has hit it, like right there, and here. But it's better than not having any eye at all, I guess. But anyways, enough on that, and we'll keep moving on. Now, taking a look at this light fixture here, this is just kind of amazing to me to see how this cast work was done back in the day. This is a Stonco, Kenilworth, New Jersey light fixture here, and it just reminds me of the jet age era, where you have like the bell at the bottom of the rocket ship right here, and you got these cooling fins or whatever, and this nice point. It's just a really neat looking light fixture here. And, you know, in the pictures, there's actually multiples of these that were facing downwards towards like the front post of the marquee sign there, and the cabinet as well. So I'm in the hunt for these. This is the only one that was there. And then there was another light fixture up top, which didn't make sense why they had it up there, other than to maybe shine on the sailboat that they had up on the top portion of the marquee sign to kind of highlight that artwork. But anyways, just neat looking stuff. It's going to be a bear to try to find 3 more of these, but we'll get it done eventually. But anyways, there's that.